Now this video is actually part 2 of a very revealing and indeed a very popular video on my channel, on the public channel, on the mysterious death of the late Professor George Saitoti. Now I know many of you have been waiting for this part 2, and I realize I've taken many months before releasing it, okay? But you'll bear with me. I normally like to get all my ducks in a row before I make a video. Especially when I'm handling such sensitive information, I want to be sure that I've got my facts right. Now, if you did not watch part 1, what I've done, I've put a link in the description area of this video. Yeah, you can click on it and go back to part 1 so that you're up to speed as we go into part 2. Okay? But a quick recap of where we left off. Okay? We left off in the last moments of the helicopter as it went down at very rapid speed. We had already established that it had a very strange flight path. Okay, towards the end of its flight, it had a very, very haphazard flight path, yeah, which you can see on your screens right now. We also said that a very important clue was that an eyewitness said that he noticed, as the helicopter was full of smoke and fire and coming down rapidly, he noticed that somebody who looked like Professor George Saitoti was trying to jump off the helicopter. And I said that was a very, very important clue. Okay? Now, since then, I've been able to establish that there was more than one eyewitness who saw that. Now, this is very strange. Now, we already know from the post-mortem and from the various reports by experts that actually the occupants of that ill-fated helicopter were dead long before that helicopter hit the ground, or at the very least were unconscious. So clearly, whoever was trying to jump out of the helicopter, whether or not the person said he looked like Professor George Saitoti, was most likely not the professor. Now the truth is that it's very difficult to tell facial features from a distance, yeah, especially a distance high in the sky. There's no way you can tell that it's a particular person. But bottom line, there were witnesses who saw somebody who was not unconscious and who was trying to jump off the chopper. Now, this is the kind of thing you see in movies, yeah? And it's the kind of stuff that can make anybody very skeptical, yeah? However, the very interesting thing is that that eyewitness report explains a lot of things. Yeah, it puts a lot of pieces into this jigsaw puzzle that has puzzled very many Kenyans. Now, I've talked to experts and they have something amazing to say. They say the particular flight path, taking the circumstances and the particular flight path the helicopter took, yeah, one thing is for sure, it was being manned by somebody. Yeah, even that haphazard flight was being manned by somebody. Now we already have evidence that everybody, every passenger, every non-passenger on that chopper was unconscious. And taking into account the fact that it is suspected that those on board were poisoned by some kind of gas, yeah, as a result, you know, the post-mortem results revealed that. Humor me for a minute and let us just say that that person who was seen jumping off the helicopter was the assassin, yeah, the person who organized the poisoning inside the chopper, and indeed the person who was operating the chopper in the last few minutes and seconds of its fatal flight. If we were to take that kind of assumption, everything fits very neatly, yeah, extremely neatly, and it explains a lot of things. What do I mean? Well, let's reconstruct the last few moments of that ill-fated flight. Yeah, I've consulted very widely with experts, and therefore my account is also based on what experts say. Now, the late Professor George Saitoti was on that flight with a bodyguard who was armed. Okay, so we assume that an unknown person, a third party, yeah, the assassin, yeah, is in the aircraft, and he surprises all the other occupants of the aircraft and manages to disable them, including the bodyguard. Okay? They then gas everybody on board, yeah, while of course wearing a gas mask or something like that. Okay? And within seconds, they're all unconscious, or maybe even dead. The assassin then takes the helicopter off course. Okay? Now there's a very interesting and very important point to note here. Even if the helicopter was unmanned, yeah, maybe all the occupants for some strange reason became unconscious, and there was nobody manning it, there was no way, yeah, this is very important, there was no way it would have taken the particular flight path it took. Secondly, the way the helicopter crashed is not the way helicopters crash. Helicopters that are out of control, yeah, and that would include a helicopter that is not being manned. Now this is because the aircraft in the last few seconds, yeah, already had a very raging fire inside, but it was aimed for the ground, yeah, and the speed was increased in such a way that it hit the ground at a very high momentum. Now these actions make perfect sense if somebody is trying to destroy as much evidence on board as possible. Okay, they're not satisfied with the fire. They want to make sure that when the chopper hits the ground, it breaks into as many pieces as possible, making it as difficult as possible for anybody to get any evidence. Now we already said in the first part of this video that choppers don't fall to the ground like a stone, as many people assume. And that's because of the rotors going round and round above the chopper. And so even if the chopper is out of control, yeah, as long as the rotors are still going around, it's not going to land with a thud. It's not going to land with a high momentum. Yeah, it's going to land a little more gently than what happened in the Saitoti helicopter crash case. Now, multiple eyewitnesses say the rotors were still going round. Yeah, but even if there were no eyewitnesses, there's evidence that indeed they were still working, because of the way the helicopter was directed to the ground and the way it flew in a certain direction. And when you take direction, speed, etc., definitely the rotors were still working. And as the aircraft hit the ground, yeah, with quite a momentum, and as the fire raged, what happened was that bullets from the firearm which was on board were discharged. Yeah, this is normally what happens. If you have a firearm and there's a heavy fire, what will happen is that the bullets will get discharged. Yeah, they'll be fired. Now, this whole scenario is something straight out of a movie. It looks extremely unlikely, especially if you don't have some certain information which I'm about to reveal. Now, let's back up a little to the assassination of the late Minister for Foreign Affairs, Dr. John Robert Ouko. That assassination was carried out by foreigners. Now, many people are not aware of this fact, but one of the sources where I got this information is highly credible, very highly credible. Okay, let's come to a more recent assassination, that of Mtula Kilonzo. Now, Mtula Kilonzo was killed by an ephedrine overdose. Okay, now older members of this channel will know the story, but let me just repeat it very quickly. What happened is that ephedrine is normally used for cough mixtures, and it's also used to control low blood pressure. Now we all know the right dosage of any drug can kill you. The right very high dosage can kill you. Yeah. Now, one of the pills that the late senator was taking was containing ephedrine. Okay, so what happened is that somebody substituted his normal pills, the normal dosage, for a dosage many times higher than the usual dosage, and disguised the pill so that it looked exactly like the other pills in the bottle. Now, that is an extremely sophisticated way of murdering somebody. Okay, and it has foreign assassin written all over it. Now, by there, I'm sure most of you do not know this, are curious. So what I've done is that I've attached my landmark ebook yeah, on the murder of Mutula Kilonzo, which explains everything. I've attached it on this post, yeah, so that you can click on it, look into it, and you'll know exactly what happened. So it is highly likely, in fact, all the evidence points to the fact that the Mutula Kilonzo assassination was executed by foreign assassins, most likely Israeli. Okay, now I had that piece of information. Somebody passed on that piece of information to me, yeah, but I've not been able to link it directly, yeah. In what I mean is that I've not had any evidence to say yes, it must have been Israeli, but at least one source has given me that information. Okay, bottom line, foreign assassins were involved. Now, when we go back to the Saitoti case, now things start to make a lot more sense, because the skill set required for the George Saitoti assassination was most likely foreign. And as I finish this video, I'll give you information on a very recent assassination, that of the former Interior CS, Joseph Nkaissery. Okay, but let's tie up this George Saitoti thing for now. Now, as insinuated in the first part of this video, George Saitoti was murdered, yeah, because of his foreign links. Okay, and those foreign links had some connection to the ICC cases, yeah, the ICC cases at that time that were facing Uhuru Kenyatta and DP William Ruto. It would appear that some kind of deal was made, yeah, between George Saitoti and this foreign power, yeah, and George Saitoti's part was to release information related to the 2007-2008 troubles in Kenya. It is not a secret that at the time of his death, yeah, Saitoti had already launched a bid, yeah, a campaign for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya. Yeah, he was to take part in those elections, yeah, which he did not live to see. Mutula Kilonzo's assassination was also linked to the ICC. Okay, and if you read the attached ebook on Mutula, then you'll understand that a little better. Now on to Joseph Nkaissery. Now, I've recently received information on the murder or assassination of Joseph Nkaissery that will just blow your mind, because it blew mine. The long and short of that information is that something very high-tech, yeah, state-of-the-art, was used to assassinate Joseph Nkaissery. Now, of course, that is even more believable when you take into account the information I've just given you about the spate of assassinations in our country that where foreign assassins have been used. It just makes sense, okay? In retrospect, we have a few clues as to why Joseph Nkaissery was assassinated. And it had to do with the neat plans that had been set for the August 8th elections. Now, Nkaissery was no yes man. Yeah, he was not a yes man, okay? Very experienced, and he also was very opinionated, okay? Now, what was ideal and required for the August 8th elections was an Interior CS who would follow instructions to the letter without questioning them, yeah? And that is why the late Nkaissery had to die. It is my hope that as we seek to heal the country, yeah, and bring Kenyans together, yeah, somebody will remember to ensure that all these strange assassinations, yeah, the information behind them is made public, so that we can move on to a new chapter, yeah, so that even the family members can have closure. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.